Howdy y'all, welcome to the Mayhem's Fablab channel. So what I'm doing here, I made this plate. These are my motor mounts. I made this plate that's a 1/4 inch thick. And basically what I'm doing, I drilled some holes in it for some spot welds. And I'm going to smooth this out. And then I'm going to grind right in, or I'm sorry, weld this up. And then, let's see if I can touch this thing, because I just got done welding it. Good thing I got my safety toes on. Or maybe not. Alright, so this is the driver's side. So basically why I did this was to space it out. Previously on my old mounts, or on the mounts without the spacer, my adjustment side to side on the motor was 0. They were maxed out. So I'm doing this so I can at least get a 1/2 inch of adjustment side to side. I think that's not as much. I think Dave says they want 1 inch per side, but you know, or 1 inch of adjustment, but I don't have that. So I don't know why I need to put this spacer in here. I contacted Dave's and they told me that you know, there should be adjustment in it. I measured my frame. It seemed wide in the front, but you know, it's a stock TJ frame that's meets specs, so I can't really tell you there. But I'm just making do with what I have. I am not knocking Dave's, because these motor mounts are like as simple as they come to put in, as for your welding them in, you know. Just wanted to let y'all in on what I was doing there. Howdy fellers and fellettes. Another day here in the Fab Lab. As I showed you yesterday, I made some modifications to the Dave's motor mounts for the LS. And basically that was just because not all frames are created equal. They should be, but they aren't, you know. So what I'm going to do today is put the motor back in with those improved mounts for my situation, and then we're going to try to get the transmission cross member tacked in and get basically all of my motor transfer case situation squared away. That's the plan, at least. So let's get started. Okay, well, as you guys can tell, had a little bit of trouble getting the old angle of the dangle all done up. So what I'm going to do, I just went through my bolt bin, found a scrap nut. I'm going to weld that on right there so that I can go up and so I can use a drill to move that thing around. All right, Now you can kind of see what the idea is there. Let me zoom out a little bit here. Man, it's not focusing very well. There we go. So I got that on there. Then that's a 22 millimeter or bingo. Well, y'all know how Mayhem's plans usually work. This is another one of Mayhem's plans. So, what the idea behind what I had going on here, let me turn you all around. So I have the motor mounts right here on there, and I was gonna attempt to basically place the engine with those motor mounts not attached. Well, that's not the right way to do it, especially when you have this junky, crappy piece of doo-doo engine stand that just does, or engine hoist that just does not want to roll in any way, shape, or form. And it's being the bane of my existence every once in a while. You know, cut to this clip. Yep. I mean, that was kind of an idiot move on my part, but you know, still, it sucks. So, I'm gonna have to probably at least tack these mounts in with a really good tack, and then we can maybe try to finagle it in. The reason I'm not going through the front, which is, again, the best way to do it, I have my jack stands there that are holding up the frame, and I can't really get this honking thing in between them. Oh boy. Anyone want to come help me? All right, so it's a little bit later in the day. And what I did, I got the motor mounts in, just tack welded, some good tacks this time where, well, last time when the motor fell, like I showed you earlier, it actually knocked some of the tack out and I didn't have it in the right spot. So what I did now, I gave it some tacks. Good morning. It's the next day. As you saw last night, I had a friend come over. We got the motor placed. I don't want to say in because it's certainly not permanent. Wanted to show you what we did and some of the issues we ran into, and then got to clean up the shop and just kind of clean it up so we can keep working. It made a pretty big mess last night. So, all right, so you see we got it in here. I did put the Barnes 4-wheel drive transfer case skid plate in. I did have to notch right here. If you remember in the previous video, for the transmission cross member, I marked this. Well, I made my cuts there, albeit very crude cuts. I want to certainly clean them up. I made my cut here, and I actually think we're going to have to trim a little bit more. Oops, sorry. Trim a little bit more off of this here, because this needs to go over. Because let me get a good shot here. As you can see, the whole rear of the motor transmission combo needs to go that way. So I think I'm gonna have to trim more over there. And then let me go back up to the front here. If you look right here, looks like, so I'm standing square to the frame. Obviously the front of the motor is this way. So what I think I'm gonna need to do, so I tacked these mounts in, even using this locator tab from Dave's Customs Unlimited. I think what I'm gonna do is cut the mount, cut the tacks. Here, let me move my pry bar here. Cut the tacks here, and we're gonna try to basically slide this whole thing forward. Because there is a little bit of, I think that would help me. I don't know if I'm gonna cut the driver's side or the passenger side. I'm gonna take some measurements from a certain spot, I don't know, maybe the front of the frame to back there, to see where we're at square-wise. And I also wanna check the manual and maybe call Dave's to see, you know, maybe it needs to be canted like that, but I don't think it should be, because if I'm that far off in the back, something is amuck. So, I don't know, I'll let y'all know, but that is gonna be it for today. We'll see y'all when I get some information back from Dave's. Howdy y'all, another day here. Checking out the motor mount situation, see if we can't get it a little from being a little crooked, know what I'm saying? So, I'm gonna put y'all on a stand for a little bit just to show you, give you the overview, and then I'll go into the details of what I'm gonna change. All right, so you can kind of see what I'm looking at here. Here's the pinion, and here's the pinion, and it looks offset. It's really hard to show in the camera, but let me see if I can get a better angle for y'all. There's a little bit better view for you. See, the transmission output is this way, and the pinion yoke is this way. Doesn't look terribly off. So right now I have to trim my transmission skid plate a little bit more to scooch it over that way, because it needs a little, it's right up against the wall there, so I need to trim it a little bit more, and that will get us a little bit more over, but it's still off by a little bit, and especially with the short distance that TJ's rear drive shafts is, that could pose an issue. So yeah, I don't know. I told you yesterday I was going to call Dave's and whatever. Well, I needed to first confirm that the motor mounts were square. Well, they're square, so they're good. I think one of the issues I had, I measured back and forth and back and forth and back and forth trying to figure out what was up. The rear axle was offset by a little bit, you know, not side to side. It was a little bit off, maybe 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, which might make a big difference in the long run, but it didn't make a lick of difference in when you look at it. So I'm going to call around, talk to some of my friends who've set up transmissions and tube chassis and stuff like that, because, you know, that's like free for all. You could send it whatever way you want. You could have it perfectly center. You could do whatever. I want to ask them how they, if they've ever had one where it was offset just a titch, and how it went, because this is a learning experience for me. I hope it's, if you know, put down in the comments what the answer to this is. If not, I hope you're going to learn with me. So I'll get with y'all tomorrow. Right, y'all, next day here in the shop. Talked to a few people around and did a little bit more research on my end. And come to find out, an offset of the center line of your engine to the center line of your pinion, to an extent, is okay. If you look back at early CJ Jeeps and stuff like that, you would see, the driveline is cocked like nuts. But they also only went 35 miles an hour. So what I found out through talking with some friends that build chassis and stuff like that, and also reading the darn instructions and going back to Dave's description of the motor mounts and all that stuff, in big, bold letters, it says pinion or engine will be offset to the passenger side for drive shaft clearance. Well, boom! There's my problem. So what I did, let me put y'all on a stand and I'll kind of explain how I figured out. There is I'll say standard that most people in my research say maximum you want to have it offset is about an inch offset from center of your pinion. If you drew a straight line, center of your pinion to the center of your transfer case yoke. So let me put y'all on a stand and I'll show you what I got going on here. Okay, so I have my little laser majigger here, and I squared it with my truss with just a easy little, speed square. Then, so I don't have the fancy lasers where it's completely, it shines down and all that stuff. It just shines straight. So I just put my hand here, and really all I'm trying to do is get a little bit of a, that's about center of that. Okay. So now you can see where that lands on here. Then let me get an old tape measure here and rough. There's that. To the center is about there to there. About 3/4, 7/8 of an inch. So that offset is perfectly fine. So that answers that debacle that took me a couple days to figure out. Pretty cool. Now, what I'm going to do, let me take y'all off the stand and we'll start talking about some other things. Looking down here at my clearance here, so I already made this clearance cut, but I need to trim a little bit more over on this side. So, and then this little thing right here is also cutting in. So I just made a rough little sketch of what I need to plasma out of there. You can see my line there, and I'll make it a proper distance. Another thing that I'm going to be looking at here, my bolts are what is holding the transmission up right now, so I'm going to have to drill some holes where those bolts land, so that there's clearance there. I'm thinking that I'm gonna just drill the holes. I'm not gonna, I don't know, we'll see what I'm gonna do there. But I'll need big enough holes that the bolt heads can kind of go through, but I also don't want it to hang below the transmission skid, so I might adjust this up just a skocia bibble. Let's see, what else? I'm just looking at all the things that are hitting, basically. Let's go up front here. Those bolts are hitting, so what I'm going to do there is basically just draw a line and kind of make a hole there. I think the cool thing that I'm going to try to do is, I don't know how big or how much, how do I say this? I don't know how thick a material these babies can crush, but if I can drill a hole big enough that these things will fit, which are dimple dies. These are, I think this is 3/4 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, that's a 1/2 inch, I don't know, 3/4 inch, something like that. Well, I can do the, I get my handy dandy tape measure. Yeah, basically 1 inch, 1 inch there, 3/4 there, and 1/2 inch there. So yeah, these are not mine. I borrowed these from my friend Chris from New Jersey, and well, I borrowed them about a year ago for a project, and I kind of forgot about them, and I think he kind of forgot about them. I don't know, maybe he didn't. But Chris, if you're watching, I still have them, and I'll be getting them back to you soon here. Got the tubes in. You know, obviously just tacked. What I'm going to do now is put the bushings back in each side. And then put the skid plate back on and lift it. Put it in so that I have ample clearance. I know where the sides are over here, like, you know, because there's that little angle. And so that I know the height of this. I didn't take a measurement from the floor to the bottom of this. So just be easier to put the skid plate back in. That's probably going to be the easiest anyways. So yeah, we'll do that, and then probably tack in these mounts right over here. Tack in the mounts onto the frame and see where we get.
2,000 years later.
Well, howdy, y'all. Holy Toledo. Man, today, well, yesterday and today, my friend came from Texas, who's a fairly competent welder. Much more competent than yours truly here. And I kind of got away from myself in the filming department. And you know what happened? We got a lot of stuff done that I didn't film. Now, I'm going to show you what we got done and kind of tell you what we went through. So let me turn y'all around here and get y'all the look-see. So where we left off was trimming that hole out. I grinded that down, la-di-da. Now, where I'm at is, look at that. We got our stinking transmission cross member in. Shoo-wee! Look at it. Look, would you look at it? Looky here, okay? Got her in there. Even had some speed holes. Whoop, whoop! Okay, all right. So there's that. We got roughly, here, let's just take a look-see here. Roughly to the center we're, whoops, sorry, I'm not showing you. We're about 7/8 of an inch, which I said we need to be an inch or less, so we're good there. Our mounts, we got this fully welded in. Both sides, we got our bushings welded in. I mean, I am plain tickled with that. Now, the kit that I got from tmrcustoms, hey, say hi, Nate.
Hey.
This is my friend Nate. This is the more competent welder than I. Can you grab me that tab that's right next to the blue thing? Okay, so we actually had to fabricate these tabs here because, as you can see, the tmrcustoms ones were not long enough for what we were doing. Because keep in mind, with the skid plate on here, we have a little bit of angle of the dangle going on here, and there was some clearance issues, and I couldn't get this out far enough to be like right here. So, but I think we should still have plenty of clearance and room for a nice fat 3-inch exhaust through here. I mean, it's gonna be sweet. Yeah, we plug welded. I drilled and plug welded. I didn't weld them, Nate did, but I drilled a hole here on each side for a plug weld on both sides. Yep. Where's it at? There you go. And then, while Nate was here, I just said, you know what? You're a much more competent welder than I am, so why don't you just weld in them motor mounts? So we got them motor mounts in, and I mean, I'm just tickled pink. Look at that. I mean, would you look at it? Okay. So, that will conclude transmission crossmember part 2, to include the engine mounting and all that stuff. I am, like I said, I'm tickled pink. This thing's coming together. It's really nice to have good friends that come over and help out and are more competent than you are at certain things. I mean, I know how to weld, and I could make this thing. I could do it. But I'm much more, I don't want to say much more confident in Nate's welds. They just look prettier. I mean, it is what it is, you know? So, we made a big old mess in this garage here today. So, I'm going to cut y'all off here. Maybe do some editing here the end of this weekend. We're going to clean up. We got big old mess. So, ooh, listen to that wind, pal. Bang, boy. So, catch y'all on the flip side. Bye-bye.